Hi team, Miss Vaughn here. I'm going to read you chapter 21 now of Beloved, starting at page 242. Brief context for this chapter. Remember that all of the women are locked in 124. Beloved and Setha are slowly becoming more and more obsessed with each other. Denver is getting obsessed with the fact that she doesn't want her sister to leave. We heard from Setha in the last chapter. Now we're going to hear from Denver in this chapter. Okay. Beloved is my sister. I swallowed her blood right along with my mother's milk. The first thing I heard after not hearing anything was the sound of her crawling up the stairs. Okay, so things that we know about Denver that have been hinted at, that after Setha kills Beloved, Setha doesn't clean herself off, and then she breastfeeds Denver. So when she says that I swallowed her blood right along with my mother's milk, that's what she's talking about. And then remember that when she asked her mom and baby Suggs if Setha killed Beloved, that Denver couldn't hear the response. And so she goes deaf and mute for 2 years after. So when she says the first thing I heard, that was the thing that broke her, or like broke her out of the spell that she was in. The first thing I heard after not hearing anything was the sound of her crawling up the stairs. She was my secret company until Paul D came. And this is not her literally crawling up the stairs, it's when she started haunting the house. He threw her out. Ever since I was little, she was my company and she helped me wait for my daddy. Me and her waited for him. I love my mother, but I know she killed one of her own daughters, and tender as she is with me, I'm scared of her because of it. She missed killing my brothers and they knew it. They told me, die, witch, stories to show me the way to do it, if ever I needed to. Maybe it was getting that close to dying that made them want to fight the war. That's what they told me when they were going, but that's what they told me they were going to do. I guess they'd rather be around killing men than killing women, and there sure is something in her that makes it all right to kill her own. All the time, I'm afraid the thing that happened that made it all right for my mother to kill my sister could happen again. I don't know what it is. I don't know who it is, but maybe there's something else terrible enough to make her do it again. Okay, so you should have a writing utensil out and make a little note here of the fact that Setha has not told all of her stories to Denver, so Denver is just as unsure of what made Setha kill Beloved as Beloved is. So as Beloved is figuring out all these things about Setha, Denver is going through that process too. Okay. Whatever it is, it comes from outside this house, outside the yard, and it can come right on if in the yard if it wants to. So I never leave this house and I watch over the yard. So it can't happen again, or my mother won't have to kill me too. Not since Miss Lady Jones's house have I left 124 by myself. Never. The only other times, 2 times in all, I was with my mother. Once to see Grandma Baby put down next to Beloved, she's my sister. The other time Paul D went too, and when he came back, I thought the house would still be empty from when he threw my sister's ghost out. But no, when I came back to 124, there she was, Beloved, waiting for me, tired from her long journey back. And this is the journey back from being dead to alive. Ready to be taken care of, ready for me to protect her. This time I have to keep my mother away from her. That's hard, but I have to. It's all on me. I've seen my mother in a dark place with scratching noises, a smell coming from her dress. I have been with her where something little watched us from the corners and touched. Sometimes they touched. I didn't remember it for a long time until Nelson Lord made me. I asked her if it was true, but couldn't hear what she said, and there was no point in going back to Lady Jones if you couldn't hear what anybody said. So quiet. Made me have to read faces and learn how to figure out what people were thinking. So I didn't need to hear what they said. That's how come me and Beloved could play together, not talking, on the porch, by the creek, in the secret house. It's all on me now. But she can't count on me. I thought she was trying to kill her that day in the clearing, kill her back, but then she kissed her neck. And I have to warn her about that. Don't love her too much, don't. Maybe it's still in her, the thing that makes it all right to kill her children. I have to tell her. I have to protect her. Okay, so there's this ambivalent use of, or ambiguous, not ambivalent, use of the word her, because it can be applicable to both Setha. I have to tell her, I have to protect her, about Beloved, because Beloved is so greedy that she could just take and take and take from Setha and she wants revenge. But the her could also be Beloved in that Denver needs to warn her mom to be like, hey, just a heads up, all of your children very scared of you. We wonder what is in you that could make it happen again, and perhaps Beloved wants revenge on Setha. So I don't know if I said that right. Beloved could want revenge for Setha, or Setha could do this killing thing again to Beloved. So when it says I have to tell her, I have to protect her, for us as the reader, there should be a little question mark of like, okay, who is Denver trying to warn? Is it that she wants to warn her mom of Beloved or Beloved of her mom? She cut my head off every night. Bugler and Howard told me she would, and she did. Her pretty eyes looking at me like I was a stranger. Not mean or anything, but like I was somebody she found and felt sorry for. Like she didn't want to do it, but she had to, and it wasn't going to hurt. That it was just a thing grown up people do, like pull a splinter out your hand, touch the corner of a towel in your eye if you get a cinder in it. She looks over at Bugler and Howard, see if they all right. Then she comes over to my side. I know she'll be good at it, careful. That's when she cuts it off. It'll be done right. It won't hurt. After she does it, I lie there for a minute with just my head. Then she carries it downstairs to braid my hair. I try not to cry, but it hurts so much to comb it. When she finishes the combing and starts the braiding, I get sleepy. I want to go to sleep, but I know if I do, I won't wake up. So I have to stay awake while she finishes my hair. Then I can sleep. The scary part is waiting for her to come in and do it. Not when she does it, but when I wait for her to. Only place she can't get to me in the night is Grandma Baby's room. The room we sleep in upstairs used to be where the help slept when white people lived here. They had a kitchen outside too, but Grandma Baby turned it into a woodshed and tool room when she moved in. And she boarded up the back door that led to it because she said she didn't want to make that journey no more. She built it around to make a storeroom. So if you want to get in 124, you have to come by her. Said she didn't care what folks said about her fixing a 2-story house up like a cabin where you could cook inside. She said they told visitors with nice dresses don't want to sit in the same room with the cook stove and the peelings and grease and the smoke. She wouldn't pay them no mind, she said. I was safe at night in there with her. All I could hear was me breathing, but sometimes in the day I couldn't tell whether it was me breathing or somebody next to me. I used to watch Here Boy's stomach go in and out to see if it matched mine, holding my breath to get off his rhythm, releasing it to get on, just to see whose it was. That sound like when you blow soft in a bottle, only regular, regular. Am I making that sound? Is Howard? Who is? That was when everybody was quiet and I couldn't hear anything they said. I didn't care either because the quiet let me dream my daddy better. I always knew he was coming. Something was holding him up. He had a problem with the horse. The river flooded, the boat sank, and he had to make a new one. Sometimes it was a lynch mob or a windstorm. Okay, so these are all the stories that Denver has come up in her head for why Hallie never made it to 124, because again, Denver does not know the backstory of what happened to Setha and Hallie at Sweet Home. He was coming and it was secret. I spent all of my outside self loving Ma'am so she wouldn't kill me, loving her even when she braided my head at night. I never let her know my daddy was coming for me. Grandma Baby thought he was coming too. For a while, she thought so, then she stopped. I never did. Even when Bugler and Howard ran away, then Paul D came in here. I heard his voice downstairs and Ma'am laughing, so I thought it was him, my daddy. Nobody comes to this house anymore, but when I got downstairs, it was Paul D, and he didn't come for me. He wanted my mother, at first. Then he wanted my sister too, but she got him out of here, and I'm so glad he's gone. Now it's just us, and I can protect her till my daddy gets here to help me watch out for Ma'am and anything come in the yard. My daddy do anything for runny fried eggs, dip his bread in it. Grandma used to tell me his things. She said anytime she could make him a plate of soft fried eggs was Christmas. Made him so happy. She said she was always a little scared of my daddy. He was too good, she said, from the beginning, she said. He was too good for the world. Scared her. She thought he'll never make it through nothing. White people must have thought so too because they never got split up. So she got the chance to know him, look after him, and he scared her the way he loved things. Animals and tools and crops and the alphabet. He could count on paper, the boss taught him. Offered to teach the other boys, but only my daddy wanted it. She said that the other boys said no. One of them, with a number for a name, said it would change his mind, make him forget things he shouldn't and memorize things he shouldn't, and he didn't want his mind messed up. But my daddy said, if you can't count, they can cheat you. If you can't read, they can beat you. They thought that was funny. Grandma said she didn't know. Okay, so this person who doesn't want to learn how to count is 6-0. And there's so much packed into this little passage about 6-0 because 6-0 has this like very like purist mindset where he will not give in to being colonized, even his mind. He's like, I'm not going to learn how to speak English. I'm not going to learn how to count, because if I do any of that, then it's going to move me closer away from my home language, my mother tongue. And so he doesn't do it. But Hallie, on the other hand, and this is like such a hard decision, right? Hallie, on the other hand, tells him like, you have to learn how to count, because if you don't learn how to count, they're going to cheat you. But the funny thing is that like we know that 6-0 still found his way to cheat the Garners at Sweet Home. Like he would leave for 30 miles. He would bury those sweet potatoes. He stole a pig. So he could be equally clever without having to have the knowledge that white people use to exert their power over him. Okay. Top of page 246. But it was because my daddy could count on paper and figure that he bought her away from there. And she said she always wished she could read the Bible just like real preachers. So it was good for me to learn how, and I didn't until I got quiet, and all I could hear was my own breathing, and one other who knocked over the milk jug while it was sitting on the table, nobody near it. Ma'am whipped Bugler, but he didn't touch it. Then it messed up all the iron clothes and put its hands in the cake. Looked like I was the only one who knew right away who it was. Just like when she came back, I knew who she was too. Not right away, but soon as she spelled her name, not her given name, but the one Ma'am put on the paid the stonecutter for, I knew. And when she wondered about Ma'am's earring, something I didn't know about, well, that just made the cheese more binding. My sister come to me, wait for my daddy. My sister come to help me wait for my daddy. Okay. My daddy was an angel man. He could look at you and tell you where you hurt, and he could fix it too. He made a hanging thing for Grandma Baby so she could pull herself up from the floor when she woke in the morning. And he made a step so when she stood up, she was level. Grandma said she was always afraid a white man would knock her down in front of her children. She behaved and did everything right in front of her children because she didn't want them to see her knocked down. She said it made children crazy to see that. At Sweet Home, nobody did or said they would, so my daddy never saw it there and never went crazy. And even now, I bet he's trying to get here. If Paul D could do it, my daddy could. Angel man, we should all be together. Me, him, and beloved. Ma'am could stay or go off with Paul D if she wanted to, unless daddy wanted her himself. But I don't think he would now, since she let Paul D in her bed. Grandma Baby said people looked down on her because she had 8 children with different men. Colored people and white people both looked down on her for that. Slaves not supposed to have pleasurable feelings on their own. Their body's not supposed to be like that. But they have to have as many children as they can to please whoever owned them. Still, they were not supposed to have pleasure deep down. She said for me not to listen to all that I should always listen to my body and love it. The secret house when she died, I went there. Ma'am wouldn't let me go outside the yard and eat with the others. We stayed inside. That hurt. I know Grandma Baby would have liked the party and the people who came to it, because she got low, not seeing anybody or going anywhere, just grieving and thinking about colors and how she made a mistake. That what she thought about what the heart and the body could do was wrong. The white people came anyway, in her yard. She had done everything right and they came in her yard anyway. And she didn't know what to think. All she had left was her heart, and they busted it so even the war couldn't rouse her. She told me all my daddy's things, how hard he worked to buy her after the cake was ruined and the iron clothes all messed up. And after I heard my sister crawling up the stairs to get back to her bed, she told me my things too. That I was charmed, my birth was, and I got saved all the time. And that I shouldn't be afraid of the ghost. It wouldn't harm me because I tasted its blood when Ma'am nursed me. But said the ghost was after Ma'am, and her too for not doing anything to stop it. But it would never hurt me. I just had to watch out for it because it was a greedy ghost and needed a lot of love, which was only natural considering. And I do love her. I do. She played with me and always came to be with me whenever I needed her. She's mine, beloved. She's mine. Okay, so Setha thinks beloved is hers. Denver thinks beloved is hers. Beloved is going to think that Setha is hers. And the next 2 chapters, we're going to be reading and annotating in depth. So in the next 2 videos, I'm going to have a little bit more in-depth activity for you to do while we read. All right. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.